Hello everybody, Kane here today with an episode of Minecraft Dinosaurs, and today we are back on the world to, well, continue what we started last episode, and that is, we're gonna get this Allosaurus exhibit actually started. We're not just gonna focus entirely on this, or that. We are actually gonna try and get the exhibit going today. I mean, granted, I still need to do a bit of work with this because I need to work on this pathway to see like where I want it to go, where it's gonna come out, and all that kind of stuff. But the main goal for today is to actually get the Allosaurus exhibit built, get it started. Well, maybe not finish it, but hopefully at least get it started, get the solid ideas down, and yeah, hopefully that's achievable. I'm still not entirely sure where the actual exhibit is going, if I'm 100% honest. Like, it could go anywhere over here. It really could. I mean, the advantage is we have this big rock wall here that's super easy to just continue. Like, we can just build the other side of it pretty easy. And, you know, that would be a pretty effective way to block this area off. And in fact, part of me thinks that'd be a really good idea, because then we can just, like, have that pathway continue, bring it around, bring it back up here, have it continue up somewhere along here, and then, you know, we have the, in fact, maybe we could even have it, like, walk right along here, join up there, and then instead of having over here be where the Allosaurus exhibit was, like I was originally intending, we could throw the Allosaurus back here somewhere. Because I'm just thinking, like, when we set up the back end of this, like, there's gonna be some pretty beautiful looking cliffs back here. Maybe we'll do that. We'll see. I've got lots of ideas, so we'll kind of just go with whatever ends up working. But yeah, I'm gonna get started. And is that a creeper? Oh, that was, yep. Alright, well, I'm gonna get started, and I will bring you guys back in when I've got some progress done. Alright, everybody, we're back, and I've gotten a bit of work done. So, the big things, A, is I extended a lot of the dirt out here, and B, the thing that actually took a fair bit longer was I got the pathway connected up to the bridge. So, now you can go from the bridge all the way over here. You can take this little path and walk right on up to this little area, because I was gonna put like a little pathway heading out here to wherever the Allosaurus exhibit's gonna be, right? But then I was like, hey, you know what? The Diplodocus exhibit, like the back of it's like right over here. We could probably just throw something back here and that would look cool. So yeah. Now, when it comes to the Allosaurus exhibit, I feel incredibly conflicted, right? Like, I am not at all 100% sure on what to do. I've got like two main ideas that I think are viable. Neither of them is easy. I'll just say that now. Neither of them is an easy option or is like something I'm gonna be able to quickly finish. Option number one, right, is kind of what we brought up in the last clip of build a cliff face all along here, kind of connecting all this up. And then putting the Allosaurus exhibit lower down in the build, so somewhere down there is where it'll be, and yeah. And we'll have to figure out like all the fences and then how the pathways are gonna work with that. Option two, right, option two is instead of doing that, we do the opposite. Instead of doing a cliff, we just kind of start the dirt coming down from the top of the mountain and then just kind of slowly integrate it in. I mean, I think either plan, it kind of requires the removal of the, like, the river. I'm also remembering now, like, when I was originally planning out this exhibit, I think the Allosaurus was going to actually just go right in here because it was super easy to work with. But no, we aren't going to do that because I'm crazy like that. And it's raining again. That's lovely. But yeah, I mean, TBH, both ideas are, I'd say they're roughly the same amount of work, because if we do the lowering it down, I mean, that's going to be excavating too. That's not just going to be building a cliff. That's going to be excavating a couple hills here. And if we do the make it flush with that, I mean, that's just a ton of building out and then more cliffs as well. I mean, either one is a huge amount of work. So yeah, and the other thing is I just need to figure out, like, you know, how are we going to connect the pathway over there up into it and all and whatnot. But yeah, that's where we currently are. I know it's not the most work, but I don't know, my brain feels tired, and I am like having the hardest time coming up, like making up my mind on what I want to do here, because I want it to look really good, and I don't want to have to come back and like rebuild it a ton. So anyway, I'm gonna get back to that, and I'll bring you guys back in when I hopefully have decided what I'm doing and made a bit of progress with it. So I'll see you guys in just a second. Okay, we're back, and I've decided to go with a bit of a compromise between the two ideas I had. Also, you can see I've done a lot of dirt work, and it's it's funny. Some days I work with like all of this stuff and like all the training we do in these videos. Speaking of which, it kind of blows my mind somewhat with how much terraining we do, because like I'll think back to previous Dinos worlds we've done. I mean, I know now. Oh gosh, leave me alone, you little nerd. Go away. Wow, that was unexpected. But like it always surprises me when I look at old worlds. I know some of them are like 3 years old now, but just how different our park is to those. Like in old worlds, we didn't really do too much terraforming. Most of the work and if we did do terraforming, it wasn't really that much. Maybe it was like one rock wall in one area, and that was it. Like a big terraforming project would be about the size of the Brachiosaurus exhibit, and that was most of the terraforming done. But now, like, I mean, the amount of, the fact that I'd say out of all of our builds, 90% of them are custom terrain is mind-boggling to me. It's just, I think it's awesome to see how far I've come in that regard. Just the fact that, like, all of this, custom terrain for the most, well, I mean, part of the, like, the base ground, I guess, isn't custom. But like most of this has been customized. I mean, then you have things like the Compsognathus exhibit where none of that is original terrain. All of that was built up, and I don't know. I think that's super cool. I know I'm going on a tangent here, but yeah, the main point was I kind of decided to go with a bit of a compromise for how we're gonna set this build up. So this build's gonna be set up. We're gonna be doing the cliff system, but we're also gonna be raising the ground and flattening it off a bit. I'm not exactly sure how we're gonna do the viewing areas for this. This may be an exhibit where we do the viewing tunnel people keep requesting, but that's not a promise. That's not a promise, guys. That is a possibility, but not a guarantee, okay? Before people get upset if I don't add it in. But yeah, I'm also not sure if I did start working on bringing the pathway over. I'm not sure if we're going to do that in the end, just because, I don't know, I don't think it looks very good, and it's gonna be hard to get that to look proper without it just kind of looking weird. But yeah, I don't know, this is turning out interesting. I'm very excited to see how this kind of goes. We're definitely not finishing this today. I think the only thing I am going to go legitimately try my hardest to finish off today is this rock wall. I want to finish off the terrain, because the terrain is always the thing that takes the longest with these builds, and if I can get all of that done today for this episode, I think that's a pretty good thing to achieve. And then next episode, we can hopefully come in and start actually trying to build the actual exhibit. Or not the actual exhibit, like, you know, getting fences in and stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna get started on that, and I'll bring you guys back in when I've finished that. Okay, everyone, we're back, and this is what I have managed to finish. We can quickly just fall down that. Man, a feather falling. What an enchantment. But yeah, this is what I managed to get done. I think this looks good. I actually really like this. It's kind of giving me season 5 Allosaurus exhibit vibes, which I'm actually pretty good with. I liked that exhibit. I thought that was a cool one, and we could definitely make that look way nicer. But I think this is gonna be very cool, very, very cool. Because I don't know, I think I've got some interesting ideas for how we can make this look different and interesting. Because yes, we've used a lot of big rock walls and exhibits before, but I don't know, and I don't know why necessarily, but I feel like this just has such a more grand look to it than like the Brachiosaurus or any of the other exhibits where we've done big rock walls. I think this, I don't know, this just has a cool look to it, and I'm very excited to see what we might come up with. By the way, I have finally gotten to reading comments. I didn't really reply to many from, I think, the last episode. I think there was a suggestion to do like an abandoned building and a very tropical look for this exhibit, which I thought was interesting. And maybe we can pick that up for a different dinosaur, but I think for the Allosaurus, we are just gonna kind of stick with the same kind of spruce kind of forest that we are doing with the Brachiosaurus, because, I mean, we've already kind of got that going on. So I think we're gonna stick with that. I don't know if we'll do an abandoned building in here. Maybe, again, I feel like that'd be a bit cooler for a bigger, more impressive dinosaur than the Allosaurus. Not to say I don't like Allosaurus. Allosaurus is one of my favorites. But yeah, I think there's gonna be, you guys have definitely presented some interesting ideas, and I might work to see if I can incorporate some. Again, I think the underground tunnel with the dome in the center, like JPOG, like that. I think that's like the most common comment I get for like things I should add to exhibits. Again, I'll think about that and see if I'd like to add that in here. But yeah, for now, I think this is all we're really gonna get done. I'm really interested, in all honesty, to see how I end up doing the viewing areas for this, because to be completely honest, I don't really feel like this. I feel like this is gonna be like the Diplodocus. This is an exhibit you don't really get to see very much of, like in terms of what's actually in here. And I don't know if that's a bad thing or not. I think that could be kind of cool, especially fitting with our current philosophy of limit viewing areas, so you can't see through the entire exhibit. I mean, this exhibit would essentially just become that philosophy, really just kind of worked out to its completion, since you really won't see too much, especially because like once we get trees in and stuff, I mean, I don't know, I think that could look really interesting. That's not to say like we won't put any paths. We might put one like this and bring one along like that. And maybe we could even throw like a viewing tower in or something. That could be cool as well. But yeah, I think there's some cool ideas here. I think there's definitely a lot of promise with this area. I will say one thing I'm really happy about with it is, on the mini map, of course, you can tell how narrow the rock wall really is. But man, when you kind of walk around here, especially this part, you can't tell it's narrow. You really can't, especially with this. I think it works super well because what you do is you run around here and you've already got all this like hill stuff, and then you have to come around all these, like it gives the illusion of this being much bigger and grander than it is, I think. And I really, really, really like that. So yeah, I think this is gonna turn out to be a really, really interesting and cool exhibit. Also, an idea I had, and I actually would like your guys' opinion on this, putting a covering over the top of this bridge. I think that could look cool, and I don't know, I think that could, actually, I think I'm gonna do that. I might do that between episodes or next episode, we'll see what happens, but I like the idea of that, of putting like some support pillars up and then like a, like an angled roof above it. I think that could look really cool. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I think I'm out of time for today, and I'm gonna spend probably the time between now and next episode doodling and drawing up some plans for how this should look, what we should put in it, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, anyway, thank you all for watching. Hope you've all enjoyed, and until next time, see ya.